Simone Fillmore sat at her kitchen table with a mug of lukewarm coffee, staring down the mountain of lunch boxes, school forms, and mismatched socks that defined her mornings. Her children, 10-year-old Ella and 7-year-old Max, were already tearing through the house like caffeinated squirrels. She sighed, scribbled, "Find Ella's other shoe" into her diary, and underlined it twice. "This is what my life has become," she muttered, half detective, half snack packer, and a quarter lunatic. It had been 5 years since Mike, her husband, passed away. Sometimes it felt like yesterday. Other days it felt like a dream she'd once had. Raising kids alone had taught Simone resilience, but it hadn't cured the ache of loneliness. Her friends Shirley and Crystal, however, had decided it was time. "You need a man, Simone," Shirley declared one wine-soaked Friday. "What I need is a personal assistant and an endless supply of laundry detergent," Simone shot back. Crystal leaned in, smirking. "You can have both." He's called Tinder against her better judgment. Simone downloaded the app. Her first date was with a man who spent 20 minutes describing his keto journey and the emotional bond he had with his air fryer. She swore she'd never do it again. Then Axel appeared. Axel was 29, with eyes the color of summer skies and a grin that made Simone feel, well, not 52. Their first date was a comedy of errors. He took her to a bowling alley where she slipped spectacularly, sending her ball into the gutter and nearly herself into traction. Axel only laughed and pulled her back to her feet. "Best first impression I've ever seen," he said, and Simone couldn't help laughing too. What started as a fling turned into something dangerously close to joy. Axel was spontaneous. Midnight drives for ice cream, dancing in the kitchen, messages that made her blush at work. For the first time in years, she felt alive. And yet every time she caught the curious stares from strangers, her with her silver-streaked hair and Axel with his boyish charm, doubt crept in. Was she ridiculous? Was she betraying Mike's memory? Meanwhile, another presence was quietly threading itself into her days. Mr. Wilson, Ella and Max's math teacher. He was steady, gentle, and had the kind of smile that reached his eyes. He'd offered to tutor Max after school and once stayed late to fix a broken faucet in Simone's kitchen, whistling softly while she hovered nearby with an odd flutter in her chest. Unlike Axel's fireworks, Mr. Wilson was a slow ember, warm, safe, dependable. Her diary became the battleground of her heart. Entry, April 7th. Axel wants to take me skydiving. At my age, I'm not sure whether to call it adventurous or a premature obituary entry, April 12th. Mr. Wilson stayed for dinner after tutoring. He made the kids laugh so hard Max nearly spit milk across the table. I didn't know my house could sound like this anymore. The tug-of-war continued until the school spring fair, when both men appeared on the same day. Axel won Max a giant stuffed panda at the ring toss, parading it through the fairground like a trophy. Mr. Wilson manned the math games booth, calmly teaching children how to calculate change while sneaking warm glances at Simone. She felt torn in two, between fireworks and steady flame, between youth's rush and maturity's comfort. That night, alone with her diary, Simone poured out the truth. She feared moving forward because it felt like leaving Mike behind. But deep down, she knew Mike would want her to live fully, not linger in half shadow. The climax came when Axel, ever impulsive, surprised her with a weekend getaway. "You deserve an adventure," he said, holding her hands. But Simone realized the adventure she needed wasn't another daring leap. It was learning to embrace love in its quieter forms. With tears in her eyes, she thanked Axel for reminding her she could feel young and alive again, then let him go. A week later, Mr. Wilson brought over a casserole. "Because teachers worry too, you know." Simone laughed through her tears, and when he stayed to help Ella with fractions, she felt the heaviness in her chest ease. It wasn't fireworks. It was a soft, steady light guiding her forward. Months later, Simone sat once again at her kitchen table, diary open. The kids were in bed, and Mr. Wilson was dozing on the couch with Max's stuffed panda tucked under his arm. Simone wrote, "Love doesn't have to look like it once did. Mike was my first great chapter. This, whatever it becomes, is another. And I am still the author." She closed the diary, smiled at the quiet hum of her home, and realized that life hadn't ended with heartbreak. It had simply turned the page.